this man's been through it all with us.
Yes.
He's truly been here through it all with us.
I'm a survivor.
He is exactly that. Ladies and gentlemen, the Emmy Award winning and star of the Santa Clauses in season 2 right now. And joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, diehard Chiefs fan, Eric Stonestreet is here.
Oh.
How are you, sir?
I'm great, Rich. How are you? It's great to be here.
It's great to have you.
A minute.
It has been a minute.
Yeah.
When was the last time I saw you?
Maybe a year and a half ago.
Was it really? No, it was at the draft.
Well, I saw you, but on your show.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, but the draft is when you were driving me around and in your car and letting everybody know who was in the car.
Rich Eisen's in town, everyone. NFL Network's Rich Eisen.
You've never lived life until you're in a pickup truck the size of the Love Boat, being driven around the man driving you around Kansas City, and then just having you had like a speaker system.
I have a professional PA system mounted in my truck. Yes.
Now batting.
Yes, I can make announcements everywhere I go.
Oh my God! So that was the last time I saw you. Was the draft.
What a great draft! How much fun was that?
That was a blast.
Kansas City showed up.
That was a blast for sure.
Good barbecue. We had great lunch.
Oh my gosh! I think I'm still finally through that meal. Unbelievable. All right, let's just jump into it here.
Yes.
Let's hit the narrative in the National Football League.
I know where we're going first.
Yeah, let's just jump. I mean, shouldn't we just dive right in? Let's just dive. The narrative is that once again, the Kansas City Chiefs will eventually succumb to the fact that Tyreek Hill is not part of this passing game. That's it. That's the narrative.
I mean,
what do you got for me on that?
Well, I texted you in London to tell your broadcasting partner, I think you were in Germany.
Yeah, right.
Where we were talking about the Chiefs' inability to pick up a third down, and he was like, since Tyreek Hill's left, this and that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, since Tyreek Hill's left, we won a Super Bowl. So I think we picked up a few third downs along the way.
Yeah, he's giving me texts about what I should say to Orlovsky on the live broadcast.
Wow. Okay. You guys, listen, great broadcast.
Thank you, sir.
And I love him. I think he's great. But this whole thing that the Chiefs can't win or aren't as good without Tyreek Hill, it's like, okay, we got it. Tyreek Hill was a special player. Loved having him in Kansas City. We have Patrick Mahomes. We have Travis Kelce. We have Andy Reid. We have other players that aren't Tyreek Hill. But guess what? There's only one Tyreek Hill.
Right.
We're fine. We will be fine.
Okay. And walk me through the roadmap to fine. What do you got for
Rashee Rice? First of all, let me tell you, you know I'm close with the GM.
I do know.
And you also know that at the beginning of the season, you asked me a very specific question about your fantasy football team. And said,
I always do this. Like, tell me somebody. That was Pacheco last year. Yeah. It was Pacheco.
And you said, who's WR1?
Yeah.
And the answer was WR1 is up in the air right now, but by the end of the season, Rashee Rice will be hitting his stride. He's a rookie in the NFL. Look at his numbers. He's competing just like every other rookie that's come into the NFL, right?
Zay Flowers.
He's learning the curve that everyone does. And I'm just thankful we have Andy Reid and our coaching staff and Patrick Mahomes to tutor them along. Like, I'm not freaking out about it. I'm not. Justin Watson, I've told you that I was a big fan of his from the beginning. He's such a great guy. From what I understand, believe it or not, I'm not in the wide receiver room on a regular basis.
Wait, what?
No, I'm not.
What?
Breaking news.
What?
But from what I understand, those guys love him because he understands the game and he helps people along. And that we know in the NFL that so much part of the game is veterans helping young guys. So I'm not worried about it. You saw Rashee kind of pop out last week with some great catches. That's going to give Patrick confidence. That's going to take some pressure off Travis because you're going to have to. Teams are going to have to say, well, apparently we do have to defend someone else.
Right. And then, the narrative, at least they blew it up that they can't score points after halftime.
I mean,
that was wild, though. I mean, that was a season-long issue, though. It wasn't just 3 weeks.
I understand it, but your overreaction Monday thing is perfect for all that because it's like, here's the deal. They're the Chiefs. We're in our twilight. We're in our moment right now.
Yes.
And our moment includes a future Hall of Fame coach who is the leading winningest coach for two. That's right. 2 organizations. The only coach to ever do that. So it's a long season, and I know that Coach Reid is on it. I have no worry. that we will have our best effort to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'll be straight up with you because.
Did you pick the Raiders last week?
Hell no. Are you kidding me?
Did he?
You've shamed
Because
him
somebody
into
sent me a
that.
text yesterday that like, is Stonestreet going on
Eisen?
Eisen because you had said something on Sunday? It's like, I'm going to have to deal with a Chiefs fan on Sunday.
I did say that.
And I thought it was because you maybe picked the Raiders or
No,
something.
it was Mariucci trying to goad me into lone wolfing the Raiders, which I was never going to do. You know how on game day morning we start either with me or with Michael and then go down the row? It started with Michael and came to me at the end, and everybody had chosen the Chiefs, and Mooch is like, take the Raiders. He wanted.
But look, the way that game started is kind of a microcosm for the season, right? Mm-hmm. Down 2 touchdowns. What happens? We put it into a different gear. And that might be the wake-up call, and that might be the reminder for everyone on the 53. It's like, wait, we are them. We are the Chiefs. We have a great team. We have a great coach. We just need to relax and do what we do. And listen, I just, in Veach I trust, and in Coach Andy Reid I trust.
And Spagnuolo too, man. Because that is a championship defense. Period. End of story. I mean, if you want to talk about championship defenses in the NFL this year, you could talk about the Ravens. Chiefs are on par.
Ravens are good.
You could talk about, even you would talk about Dallas, TJ's Cowboys, they're right there. The 49ers, they're right there. And they kind of are overlooked, for the lack of a better phrase, despite the results. And of course, Chris Jones being a top 10 player in the poll that preceded the season.
Let's talk about somebody on our roster that should be near and dear to your heart, who's having a great season that's quiet, is Mike Dana. Mm-hmm. Mike Dana.
Right.
Defensive end, rush, edge guy. He is such a stud. He is such a great guy. But that's it. They've compiled this defense that next man up is really working out for us. And George Karlaftis.
Yeah, he's been great. Well, I mean, he was dominant at Purdue too. I mean, that's for sure. But it's interesting. We had Chris Jones on the show before the Monday night game against the Eagles, and I asked him, like, what's the difference in the defense? Because despite your pride in the defense, this has been kicked up a notch. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, this is better than last year's defense, without a doubt. And Bolton's not even active right now. Okay,
coming back.
So I asked, what's the difference? He said it's because Spagnuolo's wife is with him. Because, a lot of coaches live separate from their families. Honestly, that's what he said.
I love that.
I know.
As people who really love their partners, that's so great to hear.
That's what he said. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, I guess, he was missing his wife and now he's blitzing more. I don't understand it. I don't understand how those things have to do with each other. But,
yeah, I'm trying to make the correlation in an adult-friendly way, but I'm not quite getting there.
But it's just that's the reason why when you're saying, Reid will get it worked out. Mahomes is there. Kelce's there. We'll figure it out. The defense is keeping this whole thing afloat to the point where you're still in the mix for a 1 seed, totally winning the division, and the reason why that you can still tinker around and figure out the offensive lab work is this defense is killing it. Right
and also, Chris, I'm sure talked about Coach Cullen, the defensive line coach, has just been incredible.
He did not actually, but you can.
Incredible.
Okay.
Major uptick in play.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Great energy. Watch a Coach Cullen video on the sideline. His voice is exactly what you want to hear from a football coach.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right.
Look, Justin Reid last year, he was learning the defense. He's having a great year. Trent McDuffie. I was in the room the day before the draft when they were going back and forth between Trent McDuffie and someone else. And they were happy with Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, you texted me during the game that McDuffie, when he was the one who ripped the ball out of Tyreek Hill's hand, you're like, he texted me during the game that they used one of the Tyreek Hill picks on McDuffie.
Hi.
Like I should have. He's helping me improve my broadcast. There is an eye in Eric, but he's still a team player.
I'm a team player, yeah.
So which is the team that concerns you the most then?
Look, watching the Ravens, they're no joke. And I love watching Lamar Jackson play football. He is so fun to watch. I can't imagine him coming at me.
Right.
Running.
Yeah.
Breaking contain.
Yes.
So obviously they're very scary. And their defense is awesome. They're playing great.
Is that it?
I mean,
That's it. I mean, because you took care of the Dolphins in Germany, you're dispatching with
I'm
them?
still nervous about the Dolphins. I mean, I think beating a team twice in the NFL is hard.
How about this one? You just saw what the Bills did in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're coming in soon, right? Are you going to that game?
Yeah, no, it's in Arrowhead. Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
I mean, I'll miss.
Okay.
But
After
you know
bye.
what? Like,
I mean, there you go.
they're good. They're good.
I know you've beaten them all. I get it, but
I was sad to see the injuries. Like, I love the rivalry between Cincinnati, although their fans are difficult sometimes. I mean, for having not won really anything ever. They're pretty pretty confident. Pretty proud of themselves pretty quickly.
All right, so while we're on the subject of spite, what do you think of the Patriots' current situation? Do you take any pleasure in this sort of thing?
I don't take any pleasure in it. I don't. I mean, because, I've been there, and I'm enjoying this moment right now of being a fan of my team.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry the Patriots are going through it, but they went through it before.
Yes.
And then they got great.
Right.
And now they might be having a moment, from the 80s.
Right. I like the
Kansas State Steve Grogan years.
Oh, yeah. He had a very Davis Mills-like neck, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, well, he used to wear like a neck roll.
Is he on the all?
Yeah.
Is he on the all neck team? Quarterback neck team?
Yeah, I think
Grogan?
so.
Yeah, you got a long neck, you got to wear a roll.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Merton Hanks.
okay.
Yeah.
Merton Hanks?
Yeah.
Neck roll?
He had a
They're
long
all on the neck
Long
team.
neck roll?
Yeah, these are all neck players. Okay.
Dino Hackett.
But
neck
I
roll.
love. See, this is you just being you, Eric. I mean, because the karma is right now. The Patriots of our current day looks like it's the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yeah, well,
Where you got an all-world coach hooked up with an all-world quarterback, and groceries being shopped to keep it going.
Yeah, and I don't want to ever take that for granted. Like we've been through the lean years, and I want our fans get sometimes discouraged with some fan chatter from all teams. But since I can talk about the Kansas City Chiefs fans, it bums me out when we get a little too ish.
What do you mean?
Well, cocky and mean.
Oh,
things like that.
Who does that?
To you, I do. But you can take it. You're national media.
When's it going to happen to me? When's this whole, like dropping out of the sky? Here comes Patrick Mahomes. And
I walked up to a Philly fan. I walked up to a Philly fan at Arrowhead last week before the game, and they were just two guys standing there. I don't think they had any idea, what I did for a living.
Yes.
And I said, hey, have any Chiefs fan told you to go F yourself yet? And they were like, no, do you want to be the first? I'm like, no, I want to say welcome to Arrowhead and know that I would never get that in Philadelphia. And how does that feel?
And how did that go?
They loved it. They were like, everyone's been so nice. I'm like, yeah, take some notes.
Take some notes.
No, I disagree. I don't want Philly fans to be nice.
I know it is fun.
Like that's
though.
their thing.
It is. Yeah. It is. I get it, but I have been told very deeply to go F myself by Philly fans. So,
well, if you showed up as Santa Claus, it might be different.
Yes.
Well, you get batteries thrown at you.
See, now Philly fans, they hate when we just did what we did.
Well, it's a thing that happened.
I know, but a long time ago. Like a long time ago, and we keep bringing it up.
Oh, throwing batteries? Yeah. I don't have any experience with that. I just have at the Super Bowl, like fun. I just know that like.
In Arizona?
Yeah, in Arizona. Uh-huh. I don't expect and assume people know what I do for a living and who I am. But if I like talk some like fun trash, or like create, like I did with those guys, to create some kind of conversation, hopefully my persona, my ability, my comedic ability comes at it from a pretty lighthearted way. And as just human to human, they'll be like, oh, this guy's not being mean or rude. He's being fun, regardless of whether they know that I'm an actor or funny person or whatever. And I just can say that in Philly, when or in Arizona at the Super Bowl, when I tried to engage some, not all Philly fans, it wasn't met with like lightheartedness. It was very much like a one fun thing to a 10, we're going to do this. It's like, all right, moving on.
It's the Super Bowl's on the line here. I mean, Super Sunday.
How great is football, though?
I mean, you sound like Chris Collinsworth. I mean, how good is football right now?
How great is the game? and listen, I love people being fans of their teams. I love it so much. And Philly fans are very educated. very smart.
Yes.
Football fan. So I don't take that away from them, but.
I noticed a pause between very smart and educated pause, and you said football fans. Was that on purpose?
No, not on purpose, Richard.
Sure.
Do not do that to me.
I think we've tallied it up. This is like your 8th appearance in the history of our program.
Really?
Yeah,
8th?
phoning in or being Super Bowls and all
Wow,
together.
that seems low.
Is that right?
I feel like it's low. I mean, I did Ellen 20 times. I know you better than Ellen.
You never surprised me.
You're allowed to look us in the eye.
Yeah.
Look at you, man. Look at you.
Always stepping in it. What are you trying to do, bro?
What do you mean?
Purposefully.
What?
I mean, he
I'm
looks at a
just saying,
pile
like,
of poop and he'll just
we
put his foot
welcome
right in
eye
it.
contact at this show.
Stop it.
Ellen welcomed eye contact.
Don't put our guests in positions.
Yes.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Exactly. Look at us.
Poop stare.
How dare you, sir?
When are you going to have Christmas parties again?
I know.
Dude,
Weren't our Christmas party, my Christmas party's fun?
the best.
And
Ever.
And you know, it's a real sore spot with Lindsay because I started dating her after the Christmas party. So
She's gonna have one.
She's never been to one.
That's it.
And all she hears is people talk about them.
in.
I'm sorry, you guys weren't invited. Yeah.
That's right. You've never
Main
lived.
hosts
Sorry,
only.
eye contact. Sorry.
Main hosts
Never,
only.
you've never lived until you've elbowed Ed O'Neill out for eggnog in your entire. No, seriously. No, but I mean, it's
Elbowing Ed
honestly, it was just so much fun, man.
Well, the hope now is once our house is done, we'll have a Christmas party in Kansas City for you.
Well, I mean, you got. Well, I mean, how about do both?
Yeah, could.
There
Yeah,
you go.
You foot the bill for one. I'll get the other one.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. There it goes.
Okay, but yeah, those were just
had fun.
Mooch misses them more
Oh
than
my
anybody
God,
else.
Mooch and all the desserts.
By the way,
all the
that was his
desserts.
doo-wop band back in the 60s.
Mooch and the dessert.
Mooch and the
desserts.
desserts. Donuts and candy.
Mooch and the Desserts. Sounds like his favorite doo-wop band. Back on the Rich Eisen Show Radio Network, I'm sitting at the Rich Eisen Show desk furnished by Granger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Granger has the right product for you. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Eric Stonestreet is still here with us. I'm thrilled to have him for the hour.
You kind of put a lot of emphasis on still. I felt like you said still here.
No. That's a you thing. I mean, I'm thrilled that you're here. I don't take this for granted at all. So we'll take phone calls in a second right here. Tell me about the Santa Clauses, sir. What do you have? What do
Jack
you got?
Burdett, you know Jack.
Yeah, diehard Browns fan, by the way.
big Browns fan. Has traveled to Kansas City, though, for a Chiefs game.
Yes.
Came to a snowy Chiefs game in Kansas City.
Yes.
You know, last year we were watching the Santa Clauses season 1, which is a continuation of Tim Allen's franchise, The Santa Claus.
Yes.
And the boys were enthralled, loved it. And I just sent him a picture of the kids watching the show and said, "You got a couple fans here." And he's like, "Well, hey, if Disney picks us up for a season 2, do you want to, come play at the North Pole?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course." And then, we know in this business, you never know if people really come
Mean
through.
it.
Mean it.
Yeah, right.
And sure enough, he calls. He's like, "Hey, we just sent an offer over. Let's hop on the phone and talk about it." And it was to get to play this awesome character, this, whimsical, mad, angry Santa, Magnus Antus, the Mad Santa.
Yes.
And I said yes immediately. And we shot 6 episodes. It was great working with Tim Allen, with Fluffy, and the whole cast there was great.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, loved it. Loved putting on my costume. Jesse, I sent Jesse Tyler Ferguson a picture of me in the costume, and he's like, "I just know you're happy in that costume." Because he knows how happy I was putting on my Fizbo costume. He's like, "I just know how happy you are in that coat and that beard and stuff." It's so true, though. I love doing it.
I mean, was my first question I was going to ask you is like when you first put it on and you look in the mirror before you're going out to shoot your first scene, you must have been jacked up.
Well, and the jacket is like 20 pounds. Like, it's heavy. And it's, as an actor, I don't know that all actors feel this way, but those things are so helpful in performance because I wanted the character to have this, grounded gravitas and this feeling of command and control, and that jacket really helps. And then the beard allows me to be, whatever I want to do with my face and not feel self-conscious in any way about what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. It's just a testament to, we love how Hollywood works. Everybody has their lane, right?
Yes.
Everybody's really great at what they do, and then that all comes together in hopes of a great product.
Sounds like a football team.
Yes. A well-coached Andy Reid football team.
Speaking of Santa, right?
You know
what?
that story.
What?
I told you that story.
No, you didn't.
Didn't I tell it the last time I was here?
I don't believe so.
I was Santa for Coach Reid once.
Okay.
Did he sit in your lap?
No, that's the first time hearing of this.
Well, I think enough times passed I can tell. So I'm in Kansas City. I'm shopping at a store. My phone rings. I look down. It says Big Red. I have him in my phone as Big Red.
Yes,
I was
you
like,
do. Come on now.
I'm going to answer this. Coach, my answer is yes. I've waited a long time for this call. He's like, hey, buddy, I don't know if you know it or not, but Tammy, bought me a Santa suit years ago in Philly, and I used to have some fun with it. But I was thinking, would you want to come in and be Santa Claus for the guys for maybe 5 minutes tomorrow? And I'm like,
For the Kansas City Chiefs.
for the team.
Okay.
And this was the day before. It was the year we went to the Super Bowl. I think it was the day before I can't remember who we were playing the next game. We can go back and look, but it was Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That I went in
Okay.
to see them. And I said, sure. He's like, but don't tell anybody about it. Don't tell any of the guys you talk to on the phone. Don't tell anybody. The only people that are going to know are me, you, and Porter, my assistant, and the head of security. They're going to sneak into my office.
So before the Bears, 2019?
Yes. Maybe. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Whatever the Christmas game is then.
Okay. Great.
Okay?
Yeah.
So here I get snuck into the facility, and I've never been in Coach Reid's office before, and I go in, and there he is at his desk doing his offensive-minded genius stuff. And he's like, sit down on the couch. So I sit down on the couch, and he's like, the Santa suit's hanging in the bathroom. You want some help putting it on? I'm like, I got it, Coach. I think I can do it. So I go in and start putting everything on, and then I'm looking in the mirror, putting my beard on, and then just through the doorway pops Coach Reid, and he's just over my shoulder here, and it's just me and Coach Reid in this amazing moment in his office where he's like, no, you gotta pull this like this right here, and let's cinch this up.
He's a coach.
Yeah, and he's helping me put his Santa beard on my face, and I'm like, what is my life right now? This is like incredible. Amazing. But yeah, so I went in and did. He's like, you got about 5 minutes, and I'm like, I don't want to go over. And I said, what kind of jokes, And I was freaking out because it's like,
what's the game plan?
Yeah, and I want to hit a home run, and he'd given me a very little time to prepare.
Yeah.
And he kind of ran over some of the jokes he was thinking about, and I was like, okay, we're going to be good then. We'll be good.
Oh, you didn't need to.
Well, his jokes were give so-and-so some trouble about how loud they play their music, or give so-and-so some trouble about this. And I'm like, I'm going deeper than that. I'm going.
So what'd you do?
Well, I mean, I went pretty good.
On who?
Everybody. Well, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
My little elf, Tyreek.
Okay.
I remember him rolling down the steps laughing because I told Anthony Sherman, our then fullback, I said, where's Anthony Sherman? Stand up, Anthony. And he stood up, and I go, no, stand, please. The whole team was like, no.
Did you get Mahomes? Did you go get Mahomes?
Oh, yeah, got Patrick. I can't remember what I said about him. Something about the jewelry and the purses and all the stuff. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, got them all.
Kelce?
Yes, I can't remember my Kelce joke, but the one that got everybody going is if you watch the Kansas City Chiefs, you know that we have an assistant coach that's got one arm.
Yes.
And the night before, it's Porter Ellett is his name, and we're very good friends. And I texted Porter the night before, late at night, is your arm in play? And he goes, of course my arm's in play.
Okay.
And I said, do you have an extra fake arm? Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah. I said, can you bring it and put it in a big Chiefs travel bag? He said, sure. So I walk in with my, like, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Where's Porter? Is there a Porter here? And as he's walking forward, I pull out this arm out of the bag, and he walks forward. And I go, well, this makes sense now. Merry Christmas.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they lost it. They lost it.
That's what a football locker room is.
First of all, everyone watching.
That's a football locker room.
Very close with Porter. Very good. Approved joke.
And I know you're, and NFL Films has done stories on him, and you're very passionate about it. But that's a football locker room.
Yeah,
that's
a football. And then
you never told this story before.
The first line was, Merry Christmas, everyone, except Mitchell Schwartz.
That's one of our favorite moments in the history of this show when we were there for Big Slick years ago.
I'm a member of the tribe.
When he said, I said we got a member of the tribe right here, and you go, Chiefs, and I'm like, not that tribe.
And here's what's defending my Chiefs. I know that was so embarrassing, but here, like, the truth is I know what a member of the tribe means. It just went right over my head.
I know it's Kansas City.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to everyone except Mitchell Schwartz.
That's so funny. Oh, gosh.
That was fun. But my point is Coach Reid, That's the other thing I would tell people with Coach Reid that like I'm so blown away by, because everybody talks about what a player's coach he is. And I don't play football, obviously, not in that wide receivers room. But what my assertion from being around him a little bit is he is such an upward, outward living person. He knows, obviously, what his job is, but he also knows what the #1 trending country song is right now. He also knows what's popular in culture, and I think that just makes him such a relatable person to all the people around him.
Right.
I'm just blown away by obviously what he does on the field, but him as a person, and that he has the control he has over everything around him.
I mean, and then the #1, you can't even say she's pop culture. I mean, she's just the #1 famous person on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift being around the team.
How crazy is that?
It's nuts. It really is. It really, truly is. And when we were in Germany and there was an open 5-minute open portion for the media of practice. And when they opened it up, the number of media members that came out, it was insane. It had to have been about 150, maybe 200 people with cameras and microphones and still photographers and everyone else. It was nonstop. And as much as we'd love to say, okay, that's the Super Bowl champs of the #1 sport on planet Earth. Okay, that's the way we feel. But there's no doubt it was because people wanted to take a photograph of the world's most famous boyfriend, who happens to be a Hall of Fame. There's my photograph of it right there. I took a picture of it.
Incredible.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
That's not because the NFL is so popular.
Right.
It's part of it, I would like to think. But it's crazy.
I love it on a personal level for Travis, because he seems like he's really happy.
Yeah, right.
And she seems like she's really happy. I don't know Taylor, but I know Travis, and I mean, I know her fans certainly seem surprised by her being out and doing stuff, and like in Kansas City and all that. And I hope that Kansas City continues to be the great town I know and love, and just give them all the respect and privacy that's possible. I mean, they still are Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift.
Right.
But making her feel welcome in Kansas City, and that she could potentially find some normalcy in her life would be great.
Karma's a boy on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And just seeing him down in, spending his bye week down in South America.
Loved it.
But this is the Kansas City Chiefs we're talking about here, right? I mean, and I say that with the ultimate of respect, because
it's not the Giants, it's not the Cowboys.
Patriots, because of 20 years, right? That this is happening. It's your team.
It's my team.
The hell?
Our team.
When is it going to be my team?
It's going to be your team sometime.
Great. Thank you.
I told you that when you guys drafted what's his name. I thought you were on your way.
What's his name? Who's what's his
The
name?
what's his name?
There's been a lot of what's his names.
No, the what's his name before the what's his name.
I've lost track of what's his name.
The blonde from USC.
Oh, Sam Darnold.
I thought Sam was going to be great.
We saw red flags right away. We even talked to him about it.
And then Zach. I thought Zach.
He put a hat on during his pro day because it was raining. We called that a red flag to his face.
Yeah. I like my coaches to dress pretty tough in cold weather.
There's a phone call for you here.
Oh, I love phone calls.
Amy in Michigan wants to ask Eric Stonestreet a question. 844-204-RICH. You're on the Rich Eisen Show with Eric Stonestreet. How are you, Amy?
I'm doing great, Rich.
Hi,
Go
Amy.
Blue.
Hi, Amy.
Go Blue. Oh, you brought a friend from Ohio State here today, too, Eric. It's okay. It's okay, Amy. That's the silence you hear in the studio. Don't worry about it. What's up, Amy?
Well, I just had a quick question for Eric, and I'm a huge fan of both of you and your talents. And I just wondered, what is your opinion, Eric, on the officiating in the NFL this year from years past, and specifically talking about the Eagles-Bills game with Sean Hockley's crew?
Okay.
And it just being so lopsided in the first half.
See, this is what happens when you take phone calls.
Yeah.
But and Amy, there's a certain somebody in Eric's life who might be very interested in this answer, and his name is what? What's his name?
His name is Roger Goodell.
Okay, very good. What's your thoughts on this subject matter?
I was going to ask, does Roger watch this show? Because that could dictate what my answer is. No, here's the truth. I feel like it's my duty to remind Roger all the time as his friend when I think the officiating blows.
You do that, huh?
Oh, I text him. And here's the deal.
Really?
If you saw my deleted texts, and Lindsay can attest to it, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this. I'm like, should I send it? She's like, no, you can't send that. I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay.
But here's the deal. I'm fair-minded in this. Officiating can be hurtful, but Coach Reid and every great football coach says you got to outplay the officiating, right? We're human. We're going to make mistakes. Where I am on it, though, is when it's a mistake, when we can see it's a mistake,
Yes.
we have to fix the mistake, especially when it's a game-altering
So you're talking about replay?
I'm talking about replay, but I'm also talking about, I'm just talking about in that moment, yes, when you guys all get together on the field, and I don't know what the process is there, but when it's holding on 56 and then 3 officials walk up and be like, man, I don't know what they talk about. But I know that, like, just because the flag's thrown, everybody has to be open to potentially changing their mind. Because sometimes they do that. I don't know where they're making that decision from or how they're making that decision.
Picking it up. You mean,
Picking up the flag.
Right.
And so, look, I texted Commissioner Goodell last year after a game that I was going to send the league a new bolt of yellow fabric for what's his name, Carl Sheffers, because he wore his yellow flag out on the field with the Kansas City Chiefs.
How did RG1 take that?
I don't get a response. And then we'll pick up like nothing ever happened a couple weeks later.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's awesome. But here's the deal.
Like he lives in Hollywood. That's exactly what it sounds like right there.
But I bet I'm a staunch defender of the goods, and as I know you are too, because I get the opportunity to know him as a person, and not as the commissioner. I know who he is as a man, and I know that's hard for people watching, listening to know.
Yes,
but he is a good quality, fine human being. That is put in tough situations, and I feel it's my responsibility as his friend to put him in as many tough situations as I possibly can. So I let him hear it every once in a while.
And then he's just staring for that Reid receipt on his phone right there.
Right.
Amy, thank you for the call. Right.
Yeah, thanks,
there.
Amy. Thanks for calling.
There you go.
I texted him the other day out of the blue because possession and fumble, they called on Blake Bell on the Chiefs. 1 week was possession and a fumble and team recovered. The next week, it wasn't. I'm like,
does he ever answer any of these texts?
No.
Not.
No. Well, he'll say something general in that, and he'll correct me on rules. When I get the rules wrong, 100%. I mean, he's not going to throw anyone, and nor should he ever throw anyone under the bus. He is going to defend those referees, and he's taught me a lot about it. I've been to the office and seen where they watch the games on Sunday and talked to the head official in there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's walked me through.
The Art McNally Center, for officiating.
I think his name's Fred. He's like 6'6". He's huge. And he's walked me through so many things, and I've learned a lot. But, Amy, I understand what you're talking about, but at the end of the day, what do we got to do? What's your team got to do? You got to outplay the officials. It's not an excuse at the end of the day.
Let's FaceTime Roger right now.
There we go. No, don't listen to him. He says that to absolutely everybody.
Want me to see if I text him?
I'm just wondering,
like,
what would have happened had you had at the time? This was before you were tight with the goods, as you referred to him. What would have happened if you had that avenue of venting, of texting the commissioner of the National Football League on the day of the Chiefs-Titans game, when a sack force fumble on Marcus Mariota was ruled as a forward progress stop?
I'm getting hot right now.
What would you have done? Because this was also pre-Lindsay. She wouldn't have been there to help you formulate the proper terminology.
And let me just tell you,
what would have happened?
We've discussed it many times since.
You and Roger.
100%. I did a whole breakdown of the play. I got asked to host the Commissioner's Awards in New York last year.
Yes.
With the caveat with Pete Abadante, who's a great NFL executive, awesome dude. I said, Pete, I'll do it, but I'm going in on Roger and the officials on a couple plays. The roughing the passer against Tom Brady from Chris Jones, the AFC playoff championship at Arrowhead.
Nearly broke his neck.
Most ridiculous roughing the passer call of all time.
It's lucky Tom survived.
So we brought that up, and we brought the forward progress play from the Titans game where Derek Johnson sacked him, and then they called forward progress, and we lost the game.
Last playoff game in the history of that referee.
Yeah. I can't mention his name.
What's his name again?
I'm not going to mention it because that was the only thing.
I remember him. I could see him right here. I could see him right now. Why is his name slipping my mind right now?
You know what it is, but they said not to mention it.
I don't know what his name is. What's his name again?
Because I do want to say, I don't want personal hate.
Say the name!
I don't want personal hate brought to any of those people because they do have a job to do.
Jeff Tripwit.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry, cough. I got something in my throat.
Look at this. I'm shaking.
All right, well,
I broke it down.
We got Eric Stonestreet here on the Rich Eisen Show to finish up the program, and we just showed a clip of Ed O'Neill from 2016 talking about being cast as Al Bundy and the story behind it, and we sliced that up as a reel for Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and putting it all together in the last week, that video has been viewed about 5 million times on all of our platforms, and it's because, obviously, of Ed O'Neill's popularity, as well as you and he working together in such a remarkably popular show on Modern Family. And you got a smile on your face right now.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Ed O'Neill?
Yeah, I can't remember what I told you before, so I don't want to repeat.
Okay.
But have I ever told you the story of when the show got picked up?
No, I don't believe so.
And when we had shot the pilot, we all...
This is at the very beginning.
This is the very beginning. We're talking 2009. And we all show up, and Ed O'Neill's Ed O'Neill. Sofia Vergara's mildly famous, from her show.
Yes.
Julie Bowen's pretty famous from all of her stuff. I knew who Ty Burrell was. I knew who Jesse was. Honestly, I was the least known adult. My point is that nobody knew me, and I knew all of them for the most part. And so we shoot the show, and it's not like we exchange phone numbers at that point. We don't know if we're going to ever see each other again, if we're going to be on the show for 11 years. We have no idea.
Yeah.
One day, after maybe a month after the pilot was shot, I'm driving down Ventura Boulevard with my two friends. We were going to the Cuban restaurant Versailles.
Oh, good place.
And I had my Nokia phone still. It was just like a little Nokia phone in its little cradle in my F-150. And the phone rings, unavailable. And at that point, I was on high alert because, we were waiting, to see. So I'm answering, hello, Eric. Yes, Ed O'Neill. I'd worked with him for 8 days, but didn't know him. And my friend in the back seat's like, what? And I said, Ed, how are you? And he goes, Eric, the show's fantastic. I hadn't seen the show yet. I hadn't seen the pilot. Mm-hmm. He goes, you're fantastic. Eric, if this show isn't on 10 years, I don't know what the bleep I'm doing in Hollywood.
Really?
And I was like, wow, oh my God. And we talked for a little while longer. And honestly, I told Ed for, years and told so many people, well, when did you know it was going to be a hit? And I always go back to that moment where Ed O'Neill called me and told me if we weren't on the network for 10 years, what in the hell was he doing in Hollywood? And that's when I started to, imagine my life changing, all because of that phone call from Ed.
Wow.
I love that.
Nice.
What a story.
Right?
We did 11 years. And
so he's off by one.
Yeah, he was off. But one of my favorite things about that you just have to know Ed about is he's not wearing socks in that interview that you just showed.
Yeah.
And Ed would show up to the nicest things dressed exactly how Ed wanted to dress, which is in a thin pair of Tommy Bahama jeans, a pair of loafers, no socks, a T-shirt, a nice watch, and ready to go once he got there. Always ready to go. And maybe I've told this, but we all had our techniques on stage of wanting to move on from a scene.
Yes.
Mine was...
Yeah.
Julie Bowen's with Sirs and Madams. Sirs and Madams, what can we do? How can we move this along, Sirs and Madams? Everybody had their own little thing. Ed's was always...
Just tapping his watch.
Ticking time.
Yeah, always...
And that was an indication we're moving on.
Yeah, we just talked about it before we were here over something because, you get held up at places and people turn things into horse and pony shows or whatever. And I really adopted the whole, what would Ed O'Neill do? Like, in this moment, what would Ed O'Neill do? And usually it's he would leave.
I love it. Is it true a lot of your Cam character was based on your mom?
Yep. So I love hearing him talk about how his uncle was an inspiration for him because that's exactly where my mind went when, I got the audition for Cam. I wanted to base him off something that was a sort of a guidepost for me, and it was my mom. Yeah.
So tell me about geographic atrophy, GA. What is this, and what do you want to?
So she has AMD, which is age-related macular degeneration, which is the not as serious form of GA, geographic atrophy, which my grandma had. Macular degeneration. AMD, which my mom has, certainly can move towards macular degeneration.
Susie's Nana had macular.
Did she? Yeah, it's debilitating. So I've partnered with Iveric Bio and Astellas Company to raise awareness.
Yeah.
You go to askaboutga.com, to see my mom's story, see a little video that we shot together. We talk about my grandma and how debilitating it was for her. And just really, it's all about getting people to the eye doctor is what the goal is here, and just taking your eye health care as serious as you take all your other health care, because 75% is undiagnosed right now. So you could have AMD and not know it because there aren't a tremendous amount of symptoms sometimes, and it's the doctor that can get involved and see like, hey, you've got this going on. So the point is, go to the doctor, and just, especially if it runs in your family. It runs in my family, so that's why I'm on top of my eye health as much as I am.
Askaboutga.com to learn more. Okay. How is your mom?
She's doing great. Okay. I mean, she's doing great.
She going to these games or no?
She goes to some games. Okay. Here's the problem.
Has she met Taylor Swift yet? Can we go?
She hasn't met Taylor Swift.
Does she want to?
Of course she wants to. But let me tell you.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
She has met Travis Kelce many times, and her meeting Travis Kelce many times is part of the reason I can attest to what a great guy Travis Kelce is, because he gives the biggest, most familiar hugs you could ever imagine to my mom. And she's loved him well before Travis Kelce did. And it's, clear, or well before Taylor Swift did. Right. And it's just clear he's a good guy. But here's the problem with my mom going to Chiefs games.
Okay.
Because the Chiefs are good. We don't have a lot of noon, 3 o'clock games. We have nighttime games.
Yeah, I know.
Well, my mom's 78. I don't like her out late.
I think you should.
I don't.
You text the goods and tell them the gifts get changed.
Are we going to flex that Patriots game?
I mean, nobody wants to watch the Patriots play.
I don't think so.
Don't a lot of people want to watch the Chiefs beat the Patriots?
Yeah, I mean,
that is the reverse. Might be true.
Do you think they will flex it though? Is there talk of it?
I don't know.
I would hope so, but
I think we'd know that in short order. I don't know.
But my mom's great. Thanks for asking. She loves you, and
right back at her. Yep. Right back at you again. Askaboutga.com.
Yeah, go to the website.
Is there a possibility of a Modern Family reunion, a show, or something like that?
Did you know that there was a spinoff, and they said no thanks?
Really?
Sure did.
I did not know that.
I'm telling you. Jesse's talked about it. I've never talked about it. You're my close friend, so I'm telling you first.
Involving you?
Me and Jesse and Aubrey, yeah. A spinoff where we moved back to Missouri. Chris Lloyd wrote it, and Brad and Paul and 2 of our great writers wrote it, and it just wasn't right for ABC at the time.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know.
So does that close the door on trying for everybody, or
well,
what?
I don't think it closes the door on everything. I think that it would take this right thing to come back. And there's a couple writers that have some ideas of different things, but it kind of hurt Jesse and I's feelings. I think a little bit, just how quickly it was just like, meh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was a fully blown script, whole thing of us moving back to Missouri and me becoming, getting the head coaching job at Southwest or Northwest Missouri, whatever it was.
So was Coach Cam involved too?
Yeah, Coach Cam. I was taking the job at a small college football.
What the hell?
And then I became terrible, and we became a losing program. And one of the lines in the pilot, which was so funny, maybe I should be talking about this. I don't know. Sure. But one of the lines was so funny in the interview. I can still hear, because it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So one of the lines was, "I can still hear the boos of the cardboard cutouts."
Pretty good line.
Because I was a terrible coach.
Well, I mean, that alone, we just got a little bit of Cam. You just channeled Cam real quick.
No, Jesse and I were game. We were really excited, and it's everybody has to make their own business decision. So it's no shade. I mean, we were just hurt that we thought we had created these 2 rich characters that Chris Lloyd, one of our creators, and 2 of our major writers, Brad and Paul, wanted to continue, and I think that's pretty awesome, and it just didn't work out.
Well, we need to hopefully get everyone back together. If it's
we
just
had to get together last week at Sophia's house.
Okay.
She lives in a shack.
Yeah.
I saw the Instagram.
We had barely any place to stand. Yeah, it was just like Julie and I in a corner, like, oh, hey, how's it going? It was great to see everybody. Ty couldn't make it, and those pictures went viral because they thought Ty died. And it was a flower arrangement on a table and a picture of Ty Burrell, and people were like, "Wait, did Phil die?"
It did look like it was a wake or something.
It did in retrospect, but
everyone but him was in the picture.
Yes. I mean, honestly, it did look like that in retro, but none of us thought that in the moment. But then I look at the pictures like, well, we kind of all are in black, and there are flowers on the table.
Well, maybe it was a wake for the Pac-12, for his Oregon Ducks.
Nice.
But I do think at some point, I feel like we have to check in with the characters at some point and see how everybody's
Like a movie
doing.
at least, right? Like
That's something. I hope so. I mean, here's the deal. We all loved each other so much, and it was such a euphoric and just idyllic place to work. It was great.
All right, Eric Stonestreet, we've got about a minute and a half to go. It's just been great to see you, brother.
It's great to see you. I hope you aren't tired of seeing me at home.
Never. Okay. So you're going back to Kansas City for the rest of the year? Is that
I'm
what
going
it
back
is?
to Kansas City for the holidays. I'll be in New York next week. I'll be in New York watching the Packers-Chiefs game from my hotel room.
Okay.
But
all right.
Be there doing a little talk of the Santa Clauses.
So we'll see you in Vegas then, right?
I hope so. I mean, it would be incredible.
Next time we see you in Vegas, right?
Next time I would potentially see you is at the Super Bowl.
A residency?
Yeah.
A week-long residency in Las Vegas?
That would be a dream.
Well, the dream is if you want to put CBS's dream out there, it would be Kansas City against Philadelphia or San Francisco or Dallas.
Ooh,
right?
Kansas City, Dallas would be the
And then
dream.
if you really just want to extrapolate it all out, is that sitting on the 50s Taylor Swift? I'm not kidding,
And
by the way.
have you seen she's in Tokyo, though, but somebody's done the math that she, with the time zone, can make it. Hold on, I'm just making sure this isn't Brett Veach. It's not.
Okay, great. Nice.
That she can make it to the Super Bowl after her show in Tokyo.
There you go. It can happen.
We're not going to put those horses before this cart, though.
No, there's a lot of games.
As an Andy Reid disciple, we have a lot of work to do. We can't lose focus. We have to continue with the business tomorrow.
And if this was Andy Reid, I would say the time's yours, but unfortunately we're out of time.
Oh.
That's it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.